father died, so the child from another mother, you could marry that woman. Nasallallahu. And uh, so obviously this is a total abomination. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that it is not legal for you to marry them, by force, so does that mean that she can hand herself over and become the property? No, that doesn't mean that. It means that by force, in explaining that's how things were in those days. This was the situation, and she was coerced into, submitting and surrendering to that. And she had no voice whatsoever. وَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ لِتَذَهَبُوا بِبَعْضِ مَا أَتَيْتُمُوهُنَّ. And don't put pressure on them. Sometimes, even though they had the custom of giving a dowry, they would give something to the woman, but actually it would never go into her lot. Just by the name, it would go to her, but it would go over to the family, it would go to the husband, and it would be used by the men of the house. And she was kept as a kind of a prisoner in that environment, and even the property which she was handed over, even in dowry, which they had that, but it never actually went to her. And furthermore, if the husband wanted to get rid of her, but he wanted the money back, whatever he's given her in dowry or whatever other endowments that he might have given, so they would put pressure that the woman would sort of, ransom herself and give back all of this property so that she could secure her freedom, which actually never used to take place either. Because after securing the freedom, and they would continue giving her pressure, and they wouldn't let her out of the house, and they wouldn't let her marry except who they wanted to, or perhaps no one at all. إِلَّا أَن يَأْتِينَ بِفَاحِشَةٍ مُبَيِّنَةٍ. Now, on the other hand, suppose, now, it doesn't mean that women have all the rights and the men have none also. Suppose the woman is actually, enters into an adulterous relationship or commits fornication or is exceedingly disobedient and really outrageously, flagrantly disobedient to the husband. So now the husband can take a stance and leave her and divorce her, and also request, because of the fact that she is the one who perpetrated the separation, so he can, in that case, he can request to give back what he has given, and if he will forego that, that would be much better for him. However, if that's the situation, he's not blameworthy there in that situation. وَأَشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And this is the general principle, that live with them with ma'ruf. And ma'ruf, this is this term which is all-encompassing, what is understood to be right. And human beings that we mentioned, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فَجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. People tend to know by human nature, intrinsically, what is right and what is wrong, what is truth, what is falsehood, and whatever, it doesn't come naturally like that. Sharia has, explained that. So live with these women accordingly, with which is ma'ruf, which is acceptable, which is praiseworthy, in the eyes of Sharia, and also congruent with human nature, which has been placed there. وَعَشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ فَإِنْ كَرِهْتُمُوهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلْ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. And of course, human beings are deficient. Men are, women are. And so there's going to be certain things that men would be displeased with their wives, and vice versa. However, that being the case, if there's this characteristic that you don't like, there's probably 100 other characteristics that you would like. So see the positives. Generally people come to me, the young men, I want a girl that's like this, and she's got all, he mentions all of this, portfolio of specs. So I would say, well, do you have all those specs also? Probably not at all. So you don't have that, and you're expecting that you're going to get someone sent down out of the sky like that. So obviously, everyone has shortcomings. So we'll overlook that, and even though we may dislike certain characteristics, but perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put much khair in that relationship, children and other benefits from this from this relationship of marriage. So look at the positives and don't be overpowered by the negatives. That's going to be true from their standpoint and from our standpoint as well, from the men's standpoint as well. And perhaps you dislike a thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put a lot of khair in it, a lot of goodness and a lot of benefit therein. And if you want to change woman, now you have of course, Sharia gives the the permission to up to 4 wives, provided that justice and equity is shown. Now, if you want to go above and beyond that, or you want to divorce a woman for whatever reason and take another wife, so you are not to take anything back from that dowry. Once you have consummated that marriage, and you have now had that very sacred relationship between man and wife, how can you now take back that which you have granted, in the name of such a relationship? So once marriage has been consummated, it is not legal to take back anything, that you have given them. And one of the things that happens in I've seen this in the Indian subcontinent. I don't know in the outer countries they do this or not. One of the things that they do is that they will give a dowry, and